Welcome to Sustainable Packaging with Cory Connors. Today's guest is my friend, Mr. Marc Rapp, the CEO and founder of AirWave. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you, Cory, for having me here.
My honor. You're all the way from, where are you today, sir?
I'm in Stuttgart, Germany. So last week I was in America. This week is Europe. And yeah, I'm jumping over the pond frequently.
Yeah, we appreciate it. It's always good to see you over here. I think the first time we met was at Sustainable Packaging Coalition in Austin, Texas, if I recall.
Yeah, that is correct.
Where you won an award, if I remember.
Yeah, this SPC Sustainable Packaging Award was a great honor and a big surprise because the nominees around us were big companies, and obviously that was a great thing that we could step up and take it home.
Excellent. Well deserved again, and your products are really amazing and impressive. I would like to learn a little bit more about you and your background. Can you tell us where you came from, how you got into packaging?
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes actually way back. My father founded a distribution business here in Germany, and he was developing a range of products for the car and automotive industry, which was actually quite a bit away from what we're doing today. But back then, there was no e-commerce, there was no internet-based sales, and everything was done manually. I do remember that. And this business developed to a certain stage, but unfortunately, my father dropped out a little early or too early from this business. And we started then from there and changed the business to a more global business. So we founded the first production hub outside Germany back then. And that brought me also to America in 1997. I was starting my first business in America. We were doing the retort pouches. You might know the pet food pouches, rice, and then MREs we were doing. And we learned a lot about high-speed, flexible conversion of materials. And these materials have been very critical because they need to be absolutely airtight. And the learning from that business led us into converting sustainable flexibles for the e-commerce industry, especially here the inflatable packaging. That's basically the history of it.
Well, it's an awesome product, and it's cool to see a kind of a long time packaging person have some real success here and making packaging that is sustainable. We appreciate it. It's paper based, most of it. I know you do have a compostable line as well, poly based, but let's talk a little bit about the product. I've got some samples here. I don't want to delay too much longer. So those of you listening, what I'm holding up to Marc is a box that says thank you, and it's a roll-in tuck top box like you would receive delivery from an e-commerce company in. And you open it up, and it's basically a whole bunch of pillows all linked together by one sheet. Can you talk us through this product and how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. What you're holding in your hand is actually the white version of it. The most common version we're doing is the brown standard PaperWave box. Yeah, here we are. Thank you. In this box application, it actually forms like a clamshell, and it's replacing other void fill or block and brace materials. So what is PaperWave? PaperWave is a product, a combination of 100% FSC recycled grade paper and an ultra thin potato starch blend as a sealant, because paper alone would not inflate, obviously, or would not hold the air. It's carb neutral manufactured. It's recyclable together with the box. Yeah, PaperWave has actually won a lot of awards, not only SPC from the Sustainable Packaging Coalition in America. We also received the DVI, you see it actually in my background, the German Packaging Prize for Innovation and Sustainability, as well as the World Packaging Organization Silver President's Medal. I would say behind these awards is what's interesting and good information is there's about 120 experts checking on these products so that they're real and that they're fit for use. And while PaperWave comes along as a very lightweight product, because it's 95% air, it's also pretty durable when it comes to shipping. Lightweight, durable, and very easy to recycle and to also compostable. That is actually what e-commerce needs these days, because yeah, it's the name of the game that you go ultra sustainable here.
Yeah. You're exactly right. That's the demand. And companies are constantly coming to me and coming to Aurora Packaging and saying, how do we transfer to more sustainable packaging? What can we eliminate that's not as easily recycled? What can we redesign to make it user-friendly and, like you said, easy to recycle curbside or home compostable or whatever the case may be? And you're up for another award at Packaging Europe in November. Very exciting. Let's
Yet to be
cross our fingers for that one as well. I'll be there in November for my first time in Amsterdam. I'm really looking forward to that. Have you been to that show before? Can you tell us about it?
No, actually, I haven't. It came up like out of surprise that we were nominated and we were shortlisted. Now we are finalists, and that certainly made me buying tickets to go there. Yeah, and I see from the list of speakers and the list of topics that this is a really high geared meeting. And some people say it's the Davos of packaging or the Nobel Prize of packaging. But however, yeah, the idea behind the Paperwave and why it's getting nominated is that actually globally we see that the recycling rate is not really big. Sometimes things are called recycled, which are not recycling, thermal recycling, which is simply combustion. But this material here goes away in the most expected end of life scenario, which is the landfill. And that is very important. That is bothering us as consumers, that plastics will remain for a long time. That is a great product, but it's bothering people and it's bothering consumers. It comes along with a bitter taste of consuming. And we'll like to give an alternative here. And as it sees and looks, it's been appreciated. I really think we got a great product here. Yeah.
I agree. The sentiment of consumers is frustration when it comes to plastic bubble and things like that. Although they enjoy popping them, these are still technically poppable. So we'll make sure to put that in as a
they make great bangs.
So you still get that satisfying pop and when you're ready to dispose of these, but you can also recycle the paper, which is wonderful. Yeah. Let's talk about anything new coming on, any new projects or exciting use cases for these materials?
Yeah. In general, we're looking also outside packaging. So as we develop Paperwave as a super sustainable product, we're looking into alternative usages, which is sometimes outside of packaging, but at least it's outside of air cushioning. So we're looking at sachets, we're looking at wrapping possibilities. We're also looking into like primary packaging, where you pack a liquid inside this, or cookies and things like that. Because the great thing is that both the awards as well as the approvals, certifications we have behind that product are already there. And the product works pretty well. And it works also on a foam, fill, and seal line. And so we're looking outside the box a little bit, what can be done. But the playing field in e-commerce replacing plastic bubbles is big. Yeah, what comes next is a great question. I give you a little look into our kitchen here. We're trying to combine our materials, such as FSC 100% recycled and the potato starch film, also with other substrates. So we're looking into water solubles at the moment, which is a great thing to do, because one thing is globally the same. A paper-based product will always go into the paper waste stream. And the first thing that material hits in recycling is a big bath of water. And when we can go away in the bath of water, like melting away and only the paper's left, that is super sustainable. Also, it will then be applicable for marine compliant. It will dissolve in marine conditions within minutes. That is what I'm trying to achieve. I'm working on this for over 3 years now. So hopefully we get this before the end of the year out on the market. You will be the first to know.
Oh, wow. Thank you, sir. I'm honored, and I'm so excited for the future of sustainable packaging because of you and products like yours. It's an incredible future we've envisioned here, where we don't need to use products that will last for hundreds or thousands of years to cushion something that's only going to take a few days to deliver and just a single use item. So this makes sense. It's a simple concept. I know you've spent many years with scientists and researchers figuring out the right system and the right material blend for this to make it totally curbside recyclable. And like you said, you're even improving upon that, which is incredible. Well done.
The journey around a product like this is manifold. First of all, you need to find the resources, you need to comply with the certifications, then you need to look into different countries and different jurisdictions, really. And then you've finally got the concept. Now you need to bring it together. And what we have done, we've formed the entire production technology and also the inflator technology around that product. First, we tried, like a lot of people would try, make a product which fits on their existing machines. And we certainly learned that this is not going to work. And so we really started from scratch, the whole thing, to get to Paperwave. Unfortunately, we see some inferior products out there in the market, copycats of this. They look like paper, very often coming from Far East, but they're not coated with something which is sustainable like ours. It's sometimes plastic or a PLA, which is not home composting. So there is a certain possibility that customers pay for something and then they don't get it. And that's a bit dangerous. Our market of sustainability anyway is showing these problems widely, that we see a lot of products which are only going away under laboratory conditions or under extreme weather conditions, but they need to go away in what we're expecting, the compost pile on one side, the landfill on the other side, and they need still to be recyclable. You got to check a lot of boxes to have a product out there which is passing the critical eyes of big brand owners.
Well said. Packaging is something that you need to buy the brand name. You need to buy the approved and correctly marked item. Your packaging it says AirWave on it right there, Paperwave. It's got the global recycle symbols on there and FSC certification. It's all right here. And the 22, which is paper is recyclable symbol. I think you're exactly right. I would caution people against buying things that aren't the name brand, because you're exactly right. They may be toxic. They may have something on them that isn't good for the planet. And we certainly know that they won't work as well as yours.
Thank you. And we also, meanwhile, are a climate neutral certified company, and the products are climate neutral. That little bit of what we cannot do with solar power and renewable energy is still being bought as a certificate, but that is how it is. But it's I think something everybody needs to consider is climate neutral manufacturing going forward. It's a big plus.
I'm excited about the future of sustainability. I think we're in the right path here. Finally, for many years it felt very frustrating. Like, oh, come on, where are the solutions? And now we finally have real ones.
Now, brain power is maybe the biggest power we have as mankind. So once an entire industry starts thinking about new concepts, then things are happening. And it's also a critical timing. Consumers demand for it. Manufacturers understand this is part of their marketing. And providers or suppliers like we have the technology to serve this market and this demand. When these three elements come together, then we get a breakthrough. Would I have had Paperwave 10 years ago? Would I bring it to America? Maybe nobody would consider it.
Right.
But nowadays, it's a real great alternative product to plastic.
That's a great point. We weren't ready for it. It wasn't a huge concern yet, which is unfortunate, but very well said. It's now an urgency. Are you feeling that same sense of urgency when you're talking to customers?
Yeah, absolutely. When I visit to customers or my team, you usually have a sustainability manager, meanwhile, sitting on the table, and whenever it comes to packaging. So companies do understand that they got to start moving, and the times of lip service are certainly also over. We've had so many companies saying, yeah, by 2023 or 2030, we are going to be doing this and doing that. But that was actually just buying time. And that doesn't go a long way anymore. Consumers and customers, they want to see the commitment to sustainability, not only packaging, but they also want to understand that the entire process, it goes even back to legislation and compliance there. Especially when you do global sourcing, you want to make sure that your entire supply chain is sustainable and it's not ending at your own borders. You are very interested as a consumer nowadays, is the product made to the minimum standards of what we expect. Now, I'm talking about labor laws, I'm talking about equality and child work and whatever is out there. And this is a big part. So I think we are much more critical nowadays, and especially social media gives everyone a voice. Everybody can be out there and criticize on your product on some of these platforms, and suddenly you see 60, 70,000 comments on it. You better have a good product out there when it comes to yours. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. I'll be sure to make some videos about your product and on TikTok. And
thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about Aurora is one of the places where you can purchase your products. And so make sure to reach out to your local Aurora packaging solutions provider and ask for AirWave specifically. Marc, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you, though?
With me personally, you find me on LinkedIn. I welcome every follower. I will certainly answer all the requests if they're not asking me just to change my job. That's not what I'm there for. But some people don't know that I'm the owner of the business. But yeah, LinkedIn is a good place, so I don't have to distribute my mail address here, so I can get in touch with everyone. But you're mentioning Aurora, Landsberg Aurora, a great partner to us. We are looking in America with Aurora into a partnership which is nationwide, with some great successes in the near past. And just last week, we had a new one. I don't want to mention it here on the channel, but I think this is a very positive development here. And I really appreciate partnering with Landsberg with your footprint in America.
Thank you, sir. It's our honor for sure. And it's every time we have a win with you, it means that there's less difficult to recycle packaging out there. And so it's a win for the planet.
Yeah, that's the purpose. Yeah, we're all here to make money, but the purpose really why we are successful and why we do this is taking care and going the extra mile. Yeah.
What's that?
One thing, as we mentioned before, is also important when you want to be successful nowadays with sustainability. You cannot just use sustainable materials. You got to have a story behind it. And brand owners love stories. Brand owners love the concept when they feel that their brand is in harmony with the packaging, the message they have in the billboard is distributed further, then your product is outside of these standard price discussions. And paperwave is more expensive than plastic. And if it wouldn't tell a story, I think we would still have a lot of clients making decision between green back and green initiative into the money side. So we are very glad that this is changing.
Yeah, excellent point. It might cost more and it's worth it. And there's a reason for that. Your consumers want that. Your consumers are demanding it, frankly. And with the onset of extended producer responsibility laws, your company's going to need to look at things like this moving forward. So well said.
I also look into plastic taxes, single-use plastic taxes. Here in Europe, we have, meanwhile, I think more than 10 countries asking for a plastic tax from their consumers, from their manufacturers. And if you can go over a certain recycling PCR rate, you get tax exempt, and a product like Paperwave certainly exempts you from tax. And that's how things come together. So a plastic might be cheap now, but it can turn out to be pretty expensive later.
Excellent point. You must look at the full life cycle of your products and of your company.
Yeah, reputation is key. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a very fascinating point. Yeah, well said. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Really enjoyed having you on, and excited to see you in Europe, in Packaging Europe in Amsterdam in November. So we'll see you then.
Thank you so much. See you there.